Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari Yashodanandana Brajajana Ranjana Yashodanandana Brajajana Ranjana Yamuna Tira Vanachari Yamuna Tira Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari Yashodanandana Brajajana Ranjana Yashodanandana Brajajana Ranjana Yashodanandana Brajajana Ranjana Yamuna Tira Vanachari Yamuna Tira Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari Yashodanandana Brajajana Ranjana Yashodanandana Brajajana Ranjana Yamuna Tira Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Yo Vishapad Paramams Parivrajacharya Shtotra Satarshi Srimad Divine Grace Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Iskcon Founder Acharya BPT Founder Acharya Jagat Guru Savior of the whole world Patit Pavan Srila Prabhupada Ki Grantaraj Srimad Bhagavatam Ki Shri Shri Radha Madan Mohan Shri Shri Jagannath Baladev Subhadramai Shri Shri Gaurnitai Ki Harinam Sankirtan Mahayagna Ki Nitai Gaur Premanande Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Narayanam Namaskritya Naranchaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayamudirayet Nashtaprayeshu Abhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Uttama Shloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naishtiki. Reading from Canto 5, Srimad Bhagavatam, Chapter 7, text number 13. It's text, so just read it. Ittam Dhruta Bhagavat Vrata Aina Aine Yajina Vasasanu Savanabhi Shekartra Kapisha Kutila Jata Kalapena Cha Virochamana Suryarcha Bhagavantam Hiranmayam Purusham Ujjihane Suryamandale Pyu Vastithan Etad Uhovacha. Somebody wants to read? Word for word meaning, translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. Itham, in this way, Dhrita Bhagavat Vrataha, having accepted the vow to serve the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Aineya Ajina Vasasa, with the dress of a deer skin, Anushavana, 3 times in a day, Abhisheka, by a bath, Ardra, wet, Kapisha, tawny, Kutila Jata, of curling matted hair, Kalapena, by masses, Cha, and Virochamanaha, being very beautifully decorated, Suryarcha, by the Vedic hymns worshipping the expansion of Narayana within the sun, Bhagavantam, onto the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Hiranmayam, the Lord, whose bodily hue is just like gold, Purusham, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Ujjihane, when rising, Surya Mandale, the sun globe, Abhyupatishtan, worshipping, Etat, this, Uha, certainly, Uvacha, he recited. Translation. Maharaj Bharata appeared very beautiful. He had a wealth of curly hair on his head, which was wet from bathing 3 times daily. He dressed in a deer skin. He worshipped Lord Narayana, whose body was composed of golden effulgence and who resided within the sun. Maharaj Bharata worshipped Lord Narayana by chanting the hymns given in the Rig Veda, and He recited the following verse as the sun rose. Purport. The predominating deity within the sun is Hiranmaya, Lord Narayana. He is worshipped by the Gayatri mantra Om Bhur Bhuvaswaha Tat Savitur Varinyam Bhargo Devasya Dhimahi. He is also worshipped by other hymns mentioned in the Rig Veda. For instance, Dheya Sadha Savitra Mandala Madhyavarti. Within the sun, Lord Narayana is situated and he has a golden hue. Om Ajnana Timirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Shurun Militam Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Mahyam Dadati Swapadanti Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamsya Shri Rupam Sakrajatam Sahagana Raghunathanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Saitam Shri Krishna Chaitanya Devam Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakan Vitansya He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandho Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Rishabhanu Sute Pranamami Hari Priye Pancha Kalpatarubhyasya Krupa Sindhubhya Evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Gaura Bhakta Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Rama Rama. Please repeat after me. Maharaja Bharata appeared very beautiful. He had a wealth of curly hair on his head, which was wet from bathing 3 times daily. He dressed in a deer skin. He worshipped Lord Narayana, whose body was composed of golden effulgence and who resided within the sun. Maharaja Bharata worshipped Lord Narayana by chanting the hymns given in the Rig Veda, and he recited the following verse as the sun rose. Mukam karoti vachalam pangum langayate girim yat prapatamaham vande Shri Gurum Deenatharnam Pramananda Madhavam Shri Chaitanya Ishwaram. Hare Krishna, welcome to the morning Bhagavatam class. So here it is mentioned that Lord Narayana is the presiding original, the real presiding deity of the sun. So Lord Narayana is there within the sun. So which means Lord Narayana is present in the sun, in the water, in the air, everywhere. Sarva Vyapi is present all over the material universe. He is present in every atom and is present in the hearts of all the living entities, not just devotees. All living entities, he is present in their hearts. So the Lord is present everywhere. He is not affected by either the sun or the water or the heat or the cold or anything. He is the original spiritual substance, Satchidananda. So by nature, by virtue of being Satchidananda, he is outside material dualities. Material dualities don't affect the soul, they affect the body. Definitely not the soul. But because the Lord does not have a body and a soul difference, it's just Satchidananda, no material phenomena disturb the Lord. So Krishna mentions in the Bhagavad Gita, the second chapter, he says that inherently speaking, intrinsically speaking, even the soul is like that. Soul cannot be divided, cannot be cut, cannot be made wet, cannot be burnt, cannot be divided, like I said. So the soul is also like Krishna in the sense that it is a it is a spiritual substance. It's not a material substance. So the material dimension or realm does not affect the soul directly, and the soul is eternal. And just as the supreme soul, that is Narayana, is capable of being present everywhere, so is the soul, the minute soul, because it's an amsha of Krishna. Soul is also present. In fact, in the second chapter, it's mentioned the soul stays in the water. It can stay in. Prabhupada explains, stays in the water, stays in the air, stays beneath the ground, stays in the air, stays in fire, everywhere. Prabhupada says there are insects which live in fire. They can live underwater. We cannot. Maybe we cannot do that. But soul can, and a suitable body has to be developed. So, in that sense, the soul is also sarva vyapi. I mean, can be present everywhere. Not that his consciousness is spread everywhere, like in the case of Narayana. The soul can be present everywhere, even in the sun. So, there is also the sun god called Vivaswan. But the original presiding deity is Narayana, who is residing within the sun. And we know that different incarnations of the Lord, there is the Matsya, there is the Kurma Varaha, Narasimha, like that. So they are there in different, there's one appears in the water, one partly water, partly the earth, like that. So the Lord is present everywhere. So Bharata, King Bharata, was conscious of the presence of the Lord everywhere. And hence he was constantly praying to the Lord. And he chose some mantras from the Rig Veda. Actually, the Gayatri mantra is also contained in the Rig Veda. By the way, it is said Rig Veda is the original of all the Vedas. First of all the Vedas, first of the four Vedas is Rig Veda. Most ancient text known to mankind is probably the Rig Veda. So, in that Rig Veda, Gayatri mantra is also mentioned. It said that Bharata chanted hymns given in the Rig Veda. Um, the word used in Vacha. So Bharata chanted various hymns which are contained within the Rig Veda. So one of them is the Gayatri mantra also. Prabhupada quotes part of the Gayatri mantra here. So it is said that Gayatri mantra, actually Sanskrit is an amazing language in the sense that there's so much variety in the Leela of the Lord that it is actually difficult to describe in any other language precisely as we can describe in Sanskrit, because Sanskrit has very uncommon words to precisely indicate what is the feeling, what is the mood of, let's say, the devotees of the Lord or Krishna, or what is the different moods through which devotee will migrate from one mood to another to another. So there is very precise description of the symptoms of ecstasy that sometimes words in other languages seem inadequate to capture or describe it correctly. Say, for example, in Sanskrit, there is the words, all of them are combined together and called prayer. But in Sanskrit, we have the word stava, stuti, stotra, like that. All of them have slightly different meanings. Uh, Stava is identical to Stotra, but not quite the same. Similarly, Stuti also. All of which are put together in English and combined and said hymns, prayers. But they are prayers, all right. They are glorifications, all right. But there is a subtle difference is there between the stava, the stuti, the stotra, mantra, and the prayer like that, prarthana. So Sanskrit is such an amazing language that all these moods are also captured very precisely. Mm. Say, for example, uh, also sometimes we use the word Mukunda Mala Stotra, Mala Stotra. So, variety of names are used to describe the different moods in which devotees offer prayers. And it is said that certain class of prayers can be chanted by everybody anytime. But certain types of prayers, like mantras, some mantras, uh, we cannot chant unless it is given to us in a Guru Parampara by a Guru. So only when a Guru gives it to us, the potency of that mantra is unlocked. Otherwise, it stays locked up. No matter how much you chant, the true benefit of that mantra does not accrue to the person who is chanting because he has not received it in the parampara. So one such mantra is the Gayatri mantra. There are specifically many mantras like that. The Bija mantras, the uh, the Gayatri, the Narasimha Gayatri, the Narasimha Bija mantra. There are various categories of mantras and stutis and stavas and stotras and glorification like that in, the Vedic literature. So, like I said, in some cases it has to be given in the form of a formal diksha, and then that mantra's power gets unlocked. So we see that in common parlance, we see that people think that they can chant the Gayatri mantra, they play it indiscriminately. Um, Gayatri mantra is powerful. Definitely, maybe there is some benefit of chanting without having received it in Guru Parampara from Guru. But nevertheless, the entire benefit of the Gayatri mantra may not accrue to somebody who's chanting. In the same way, it is said that some of the Narasimha mantras or specific mantras, the Bija mantras, the Gayatri mantras, Narasimha Gayatri, etc., they cannot be chanted just by anybody. It has to be properly initiated. One should be properly initiated, qualified to receive the mantra, then chant. Uh, otherwise, uh, otherwise they don't produce. But the Hare Krishna mantra is very different. Even with respect to the Hare Krishna mantra, there used to be a controversy because in the Vedic literature, some portions of the Vedic literature, the mantra starts with Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna. And then in the Bhavish Puran and the Kalisantrana Upanishad, it starts with the Hare Krishna. So when Lord Chaitanya started distributing the Hare Krishna mantra widespread, practically without any discrimination, he started distributing. The caste Brahmanas, the orthodox caste Smarta Brahmanas objected, saying it's a Vedic mantra, everybody cannot chant. So Lord Chaitanya found an escape route. He said, no, I'm not chanting that mantra that comes in the Upanishads or Vedas, Vedic literature, the Vedic part. I'm chanting the mantra that comes in the Purana, Puranarthi Purana, Kalisantrana Upanishad. So there it comes, it starts with Hare Krishna. So I'm chanting that and then sometimes the orthodox Smarta Brahmins would come back to Lord Chaitanya and say, you're making them chant loudly. That's not allowed. Mantra should be chanted secretly. We should, like we chant the Gayatri mantra we receive from the Guru when we have second initiation, also called Diksha. So we don't chant audibly. You can murmur in the sense that maybe your lips can shake according to the what you're chanting, but people should not hear. And then it's also said that some of these mantras have their own etiquette while we are chanting. For example, when we count the Gayatri mantra, it is said that nobody should see you count. So there is an etiquette, there's a protocol, there's a maryada for that mantra. So you should not, visibly count Gayatri mantras. So you're taught how to count also, how to count. So it's interesting that there's a whole culture behind it, sanskar culture, understanding. There's a whole philosophy behind it. But Lord Chaitanya kind of brushed aside most of it and he said, we can chant. Then they objected, said, no, this mantra can be chanted. Maybe the Hare Rama mantra should not be chanted aloud. But Hare Krishna, it comes in the Puranas. It can be chanted. And it can be chanted loudly. So they would come up with variety of objections to Lord Chaitanya launching the Sankirtan movement, saying you can't chant, you can't distribute, shouldn't be done loudly. What is all this? It's jumping and dancing. This is one of the objections that we get from the orthodox people. They say, why you are jumping and dancing when you chant this mantra? That's just not done. Why women are chanting? Why women are chanting loudly? It's not done. And also according to some of the very, very conservative, uh, traditional oriented, bigoted parampara, they will say women should not get this mantra, they should not be allowed to do this, they should not allow different things. But Prabhupada was quite radical in all these matters. He was very, in some way you could say, revolutionary, radical and revolutionary. He gave the Gayatri mantras to women, told them to chant. He even empowered them to go and worship the deities in the altar. Such a thing would never happen, normally not happen previously, previous to Prabhupada. Not a common practice, maybe isolated instances are there. But Prabhupada allowed them to worship the deities, decorate the deities. And Prabhupada allowed them to do arti also in the Western world. Not so much in India. We don't do it. But there is this whole conservatism which try to pull down the Hare Krishna movement. So you cannot chant loudly, you cannot chant together, women cannot chant, you should not do this. This, how can you chant before you take a bath or something? You should take a bath. I mean, maybe that all those things apply when you do Sandhya Vandanam. Sandhya Vandanam is a very um, ritualistic, it's loaded with rituals and practices. You have to take bath and wear certain clothes of a certain type and then sit down, face a particular direction, take your uh, take your upavita and then twist it around your thumb and then like that. Actually, all these restrictions are there. But Prabhupada said, let's take the spirit of these mantras, idea of this mantra, spirit of this mantra. And then, doesn't matter, do away with the rituals part. And then carry on with life, carry on with bhakti. In fact, in South India, when you go and attend some religious function, you'll see that the brahmanas perform some kind of a ritual before they sit and eat. They take 3 grains and keep it on the right side, sip water 3 times and like that. The Prabhupada said, no, we don't want to do all of that. This is, then everybody will become, Prabhupada's idea was that we shouldn't become focused too much on the ritualistic part and forget the spirit and the purpose behind. The risk in becoming loaded with rituals and this is that we will very conveniently we will soon start forgetting the purpose, the spirit, the goal, the idea behind all these things. So they will start becoming conscious of being a brahmana, having to do certain rituals, and they think Brahminism means that sit down and keep 3 grains on your right side and sip water 3 times and remember your pitrus, and they think being Brahminical means that. And They become very conscious of their caste and gotra, and Prabhupada just uh, just democratized all of that, and then said, simply say you're Achyuta Gotra. Originally, there was only one Achyuta Gotra. After that, the Sapta Rishis came. After that, various Rishis came, and then they have the Srivatsa Gotra, Bharadwaja Gotra, like that, different Gotras, different Rishis, Vishwamitra Gotra, Vashishta Gotra, like that. They all came. But original Gotra is that of Vishnu, because we are all descendants of Vishnu. So you simply say you're Achyuta Gotra. Don't worry too much. So Prabhupada was, he kind of made it so inclusive. He allowed everybody to come through. And he focused on the spirit, on the main purpose, and the goal, and the Yuga Dharma, which is to chant the Lord's name and worship the Lord and serve the Lord, accept a parampara, like that. So he focused more on the essential Yuga Dharma, not on the rituals, not on. Uh, he said you could dispense with all of that, but you can't dispense with the main Yuga Dharma. And Prabhupada said, as far as cleanliness is concerned, as far as truthfulness is concerned, it begins by not gambling and like that. Cleanliness is concerned, Prabhupada said, that's you get that by being chaste, very chaste and loyal and like that. That's how one is clean. Actually, um, um, uh, the just as Prabhupada was so revolutionary during his time, so was Lord Chaitanya. Lord Chaitanya did it in Navadvip at a time when everything was tightly under the grip of the Smartha Brahmanas, very tightly in their grip. What is this worship of Krishna? What is this chanting like this? You should actually be worshipping Durga. You should do the Panchopasana Seva, which means the five deities, Lord Ganesha, Surya, Indra, Durga, Devi, and Vishnu, Sun, God, etc. So, you should do the Panchopasana worship. What is this? Only Krishna. And what is this chanting Hare Krishna mantra? So, Lord Chaitanya invented, had to come up with this device in order to quieten all of them and bring them to a platform of, uh, you know, in his mood of becoming very inclusive. Lord Chaitanya actually took sannyas. That was one of the reasons why he took sannyas, because everybody is forced to respect the sannyasi. He can't criticize the sannyasi. Pay down, pay obeisances, bend down, pay obeisances, respect, and revere or uh, worship the sannyasi. So Lord Chaitanya came up with this improvised device saying that maybe I become a sannyasi so that they will respect me and they will not pinpoint various ritualistic lapses or whatever they think. They think these are ritualistic lapses. But Lord Chaitanya was so inclusive that when he came to South India and wherever he went, he allowed everybody to chant the Hare Krishna mantra. And Lord Chaitanya said that we are all children of the same God, Lord Krishna. This is his name. Every one of us have the right to chant. Every one of us has the right to become a devotee. And then he practically crowned Haridas Thakura as Namacharya, knowing fully well that he comes from a Mleccha family, Yavana Mleccha family. He crowned him, he anointed him, he declared that Haridas Thakura is the Namacharya. It was such a radical thing to do. And Advaita Acharya was no less when he performed the Shraddha ceremony of his father. Advaita Acharya, who was known as a traditional, smartha, strict, conservative Brahmana. The first meal after Shraddha ceremony is offered to the senior most respected, most revered the Brahmana in that community. The first meal he gave after he performed this ceremony was to Haridas Thakura. He called Haridas Thakura and he said, you take the first meal. If you take if you honor this, if you take this first meal, I will take it that not only my father, my entire forefathers, whoever they are, wherever they are blessed. If you honor this, if you take this. It was like a shocker for all the other caste brahmanas who were there. Which is why, in complete confusion, at one point of them, they went and complained to Chand Kazi saying, we are so worried about this Nimai Pandit. He's destroying Vedic culture. He's determined to finish it. Even the last remnants of Vedic culture will be lost completely if we allow him to continue. So Chand Kazi was asking, so in what way is it destroying? Then they explained, he's making people chant Hare Krishna loudly. Hare Krishna cannot be chanted by the non-Brahmanas. They cannot chant loudly. Here they're singing and dancing as if they're indulging in some revelry uh, that is disrespecting the mantra. That is completely ridiculing the mantra. Who knows, by the touch of all these people, the mantra may lose its potency. Different arguments like that they came up, saying this mantra will lose its potency. That's when Chand Kazi became a little interested in this tussle. He said, oh really? Then they said that he's turning everything upside down. How can they call Haridas Thakur? I mean, maybe they didn't refer to it, but that's part of the whole social ecosystem that Mahaprabhu and his followers changed completely. How can Haridas Thakur be called? He's insulting us by not honoring us, etc. So Chand Kazi became a little emboldened. He thought, wow, this is interesting. Hitherto I had thought Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was a sadhu or something like that. But this is interesting. They have come to me to solve. I won't lose this opportunity. So he sent his people and saying that you can, on the streets of Navadvip, you cannot sing and dance like this. I have been told that this is insulting the mantra. This is offense. This is sacrilege. You cannot chant like this. You cannot dance like this. And what is all this mridanga kartal you are using while chanting the mantra? You should sit on the bank of Ganges, close your eyes, half close your eyes, and and then deeply meditate on these mantras. This is not meant for revelry or something. So they went and they had the audacity to break some mridangas. Actually, we can now understand that the whole event was engineered, orchestrated by Lord Chaitanya, because he wanted to establish the supreme truth about how the Hare Krishna mantra is different from all other mantras. Actually, it is called the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra, the Maha Mantra. It is Namna Makari Bahuda Nija Sarva Shakti Tatrarpita Niyamita Smaranena Kalaha. No rules, no regulations govern the chanting of the Hare Krishna mantra. Nothing can impede its effect, nothing can diminish its power or potency. So Mahaprabhu wanted to establish this supreme truth. So this, we could see that the whole event was orchestrated by the Lord's divine will. So he goes and argues with Chand Kazi. He says, what is the problem if we chant loudly? Why we cannot chant? And why we cannot sing and dance? Because the Lord's name is sweet. Lord's name brings happiness. Lord's name is blissful. It gives transcendental ecstasy. Why can't I chant? When I chant, I naturally, spontaneously feel like singing and dancing. Because the Lord is so sweet. Lord's name is so. So he convinces Chand Kazi completely. Actually, it's another way of Lord Chaitanya showed his compassion also. Mercy, compassion, and benediction on Chand Kazi. So that's a watershed event. Watershed event means that event changes history in one sense. So Mahaprabhu well and truly liberated the Hare Krishna mantra from the clutches of the non-Hindus, clutches of caste brahmanas, the smarta idea. He just liberated the mantra from all such categorization or limitations. He just liberated it. Said this mantra is for all time, for this entire yuga. Anybody, anywhere, in whatever form, whatever they can chant. They have to chant. They must chant. So it's kind of a watershed event in the history of liberation of the Hare Krishna mantra. So, I mean, there is the mantra also, and in the month when it comes to the mantra also, there are different formats. Some mantras have an om in bit, have a om, and then they have a mm, uh, and like for example, typically of a part of the Ashtotra you say Om Krishna and Om Kamalanatha and Om Vasudeva and Om Sanatana and Om. There is an Om and a Namaha. Om before and Namaha after. So that's one format. Of course, that is not strictest in the strictest sense. These are Ashtotras and they're not quite really mantras, but there are mantras also which have an Om and a Namaha as a prefix and a suffix. So, which is why it is said that we will benefit if we have a guru who understands. Guru who understands the culture, the history, the tradition, understands the spirit behind these mantras, stotras, tavas, stutis. He understands. When somebody who has to understand this. So when we have that, which is otherwise we lose our way. We won't know which is an exception, what is a rule, what cannot be exempted. Like for instance, the guru should know that the Gayatri mantras cannot be chanted without diksha. They won't have an effect. It's offensive also. It's not proper to chant the Gayatri mantras without having received them through a bona fide guru and without being qualified to receive them. So we need a guru. Otherwise, the extremely vast ocean of Vedic knowledge can confuse somebody. Sometimes there are contradictory statements also. Sometimes there are statements that from which you can derive multiple meanings. So all these problems, all these challenges are there unless you have a guru who's been taught, who's wise, who's experienced, who knows, who's learned, and who's intelligent and who's fearlessly presenting the truth as it is. So unless we have such people, we also will tend to get confused, bewildered, and we may end up coming to the wrong idea or wrong conclusion. Many times people come and ask us, how can we keep Bhagavad Gita at home? It's a literature that promotes war. So, how can we keep Narsingadev's picture at home? So people have strange ideas. They somehow pick it up here and there. So um, many of these things have to be clarified on the strength of the parampara teachings and parampara understanding. And in our case, our parampara understanding is that of Udharya Bhav. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is Udharya. Udharya means very, very kind and compassionate, extremely kind and compassionate. So our understanding and practices and shall we say the mood, bhava of our parampara, of the way and the way we understand and read, understand, and practice whatever is mentioned in the like that is based on this Audarya Bhav. And then there is, I mean, if you look into the Vedic literature, there's such a huge variety. There are something called the Samhitas, Brahma Samhita, Garga Samhita. Then there are sutras. Sutras are basically aphorisms or formulae. They're more like formulas. They're very concise, precise formula, which encapsulate a very deep philosophical concept. Atata Brahma Jignasa, Tattvamasi. They're all called sutras, Brahma Sutras. They're easy to remember, but each aphorism encapsulates or captures something very profound, very deep, multi-layered philosophical understandings are there. So, if you explore the entire gamut of the Vedic literature, there is the Ashtakas, there is the Ashtotras, there is the Sahasranamas, there are the Samhitas, there are the Stotras, there are the Stavas, there are the Stutis, there are the Malas, there are the there are the tantric agamas. Of course, you could say that sometimes each one of them deal with some specific scope of understanding, specific areas, specific subject. But this is what makes the entire study of Vedic literature very interesting and very engaging to the mind. But Prabhupada said that I'm giving you the essence, the very core, important essence. And he said the essence is there in the Srimad Bhagavatam, the Bhagavad Gita, the Chaitanya Charitamrita, and Nectar of Devotion. These are very, of course, the Ishopanishad, uh, Upadeshamrita. These are basic core literatures. Uh, so Prabhupada said that they uh, they contain everything that we need to know on how to practice bhakti, about Krishna, uh, and that's kind of enough for us in this lifetime. If we can read these literature multiple number of times, it's such a important thing, such a nice um, benefit if we can read these literatures multiple number of times, actually drown ourselves in the nectarian mellows of these literatures. Uh, and also, sometimes deliberately there are um, literatures in the sattvic bhav, sometimes in the passionate mood, sometimes like the Puranas, the Devi Puran, the Shiva Puran, they're not considered sattvic Puranas. They're more in the mode of passion or a little bit in the mode of ignorance or something. But the purpose is that they, they somehow want to bring, like I said, they're all overall inclusive. So even the non Vaishnavas, the non devotees will have something to hold on to and claim some kind of legitimacy to their beliefs. It's there in the Devi Puran, it's there in the Shiva Puran, it's there in this Puran. So they'll also have some legitimacy by which they will come under the larger umbrella of Vedic literature. So that's the whole mood. So we cannot say it's then the Devi Puran, so Devi Puran is the highest ultimate truth. No, it's an inclusive literature written for a people with a certain inclinations and certain level of spiritual growth and evolution. It's written for them. It's not the highest truth. It's not the highest absolute supreme truth, which is there in the Sattvic Puranas. And among the Sattvic Puranas, there are a handful of them. Among them is the Amala Puran, Srimad Bhagavatam. So if you want to put them all in a hierarchy, up there is uh, Srimad Bhagavatam. So that is the highest truth, supreme, absolute, highest truth. So everything else has to be understood in terms of what is present in the Srimad Bhagavatam. Sometimes, if there are two statements which are contradictory to one another, what is in the Bhagavatam and what is in, let's say, the Devi Puran, so it is recommended that we look at the conclusions of the Srimad Bhagavatam as being of a higher level of validity than those in, let's say, the Shiva Puran. So there's a whole science on how to read the Vedic literatures. And Prabhupada wanted all of that to be understood, studied, documented, and taught also to those who are Brahminically inclined. But Prabhupada also warned, he said, you should not navigate through all these literatures without proper maturity, without proper guidance. It can't be of uh, free flow. I mean, just can't pick up any book at random, start reading. Prabhupada said no, because it could probably dilute your faith in what Prabhupada writes and what is the highest supreme truth. It could dilute, it can disturb, uh, it can, in one sense, contradict. So Prabhupada said it's not meant for everybody. Uh, you know, that kind of exploring to all kinds of literature. It's not meant for everybody. It has to be done with responsibility, maturity, and guidance, and with the permission from Guru, like that. So then, in order to support the conclusions of the Srimad Bhagavatam, the acharyas have written so many other supporting literature, like Jiva Goswami wrote, establish the conclusion that the Srimad Bhagavatam as being the highest true, absolute, supreme truth. So he compiled Shatsandarbhas. And so there is this whole, sometimes literatures overlap, sometimes they're 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 in different silos, like that. So it makes the whole study of Vedic literature very interesting, very engaging, and, mm, mm, especially when it is done under the guidance of a bona fide acharya. Very interesting to study and learn. But uh, but there are strict no-go areas. Our Prabhu also said certain literature is no-go, which means we don't go there. Those literatures are literatures that support Mayavada conclusions. We don't even explore, we don't even read, we don't even try to understand, we don't even listen. That's that those arguments have already been given and they're closed. It's a closed argument. It's a closed discussion, debate. So Mayavada is no go for Vaishnavas. So Prabhupada drew a boundary, he drew a red line, Lakshman Rekha in a sense, saying, don't go there, don't go into the Mayavada. That's dangerous, offensive, dangerous. Within the Gaudiya Vaishnava literature, you can read, you can study, uh, you can explore, and even that has to be done very carefully because based on the mood of the author, he may establish a certain mood of worship as being superior to the other, like that. So one has to understand this in terms of what parampara one belongs, all of that. So there are some disclaimers, some caveats like that. So Bharata was chanting the Gayatri mantra, then Prabhupada is mentioning some hymns. Many hymns are there in the Rig Veda. So, of course, for us, Prabhupada actually said the Hare Krishna mantra is the sum total of all the mantras which glorify the Lord. We don't have to search for another mantra. This is the supreme, absolute, highest mantra. So, if we take shelter of the Hare Krishna mantra, that's enough. And we also see the proof of the pudding is in eating. Because we see that when people chant the Hare Krishna mantra, they receive in the parampara, how much they advance, how much their life changes, how much they evolve spiritually, how much taste they develop for serving Krishna, the bhakti, how much purity they develop. So the mantra actually works, and we have proof of that in our own experience. We can see how many people are transforming by chanting these mantras. So these literatures are there. Actually, all of them are supplementary reading, other than the basic literature that Prabhupada gave us, the Bhagavatam, the Krishna book, Bhagavad Gita, Nectar of Devotion, Ishopanishad. If you consider these are the basic books, others means books which are not written, translated by Prabhupada, are they're also precious literature. They're also many of them compiled by the same author, Vyasadeva. But they we could consider them as secondary supplementary. And if we complete this, then if we have the time and inclination and permission of our Guru, then we can explore some literatures written by Rupa Goswami or like that, which are very, or let's say the Ramayana and the Mahabharata. You can explore those two. Prabhupada mentioned that if he had the time, he would translate the Ramayana and the Mahabharata. Somehow he didn't get around to doing it. But in the short time that we have this human life, it's enough if we stick to these basic literatures, because anything else can sometimes be misleading, can be confusing, be can disturb one's faith, determination also. If we without supervision explore all other types of ancillary secondary literature, can even disturb us. And I, you know, we just today we just looked at different types of literature and how some of these mantras need a guru, need diksha, need qualification. And now Mahaprabhu's mood was just chant Hare Krishna, and that is enough. And of course, you supplement yourself by reading, supplement your philosophy. I mean, your by essential readings. I mentioned the names of those scriptures, and then you're safely situated. Uh, of course, there are commentaries like Vishnu Chakravarti Thakur has written. Uh, so there are, I mean, Prabhupada actually, when he was translating the Bhagavatam, he relied on Vishnu Chakravarti's commentary, sometimes Sridhar Swami's commentaries. So he compiled it. He made it available for all of us. We don't have to necessarily go through all those books, but some of those who are very very philosophically inclined and who have the permission of their guru to study more, learn more, read more, can go to this type of supporting literature. But we should look at them as supporting literature and view all of them within the perspective, within the core philosophy boundaries of which are defined by Prabhupada's instructions to us. We should look at it like that. Otherwise, like I said, it can disturb one's faith also. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Ram. Any questions or comments? Yes.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
Yeah, go ahead.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Thank you, Prabhuji, for wonderful class. Prabhuji, you told some points. You told one point that some mantras have power. It will only unlocked if getting through the gurus. And even you chant those mantra also, you will not get the same benefit. What will be benefit? Will get the benefit giving by the gurus. You give the example of the Gayatri mantra there. That Gayatri mantra, if you get through the gurus, then only you will get the benefit. And if some mantras are there, uh, so what happen if some mantras, some people will get some mantra and guru give the mantra to the disciple and disciple make that mantra publicly. You give the example of Hare Krishna Maha Mantra. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu use some logic and make that mantra publicly utilized by everyone. So, and one more point is coming, like we had one example of Ramanujacharya also. He get the mantra from the guru and guru told that don't publicize this mantra, but he publicized that mantra and give to everyone. So what happen in this type of cases when mantra, when you doing the guru avigya or you are guru told to do something but you are doing anything else. So that mantra will give the benefit for the normal people. And what happened to the disciple who not allowed to give this mantra publicly, but he publicized that mantra, so he will get some offense for that.
See, in the case of Sripada Ramanujacharya, we have to understand that it's more like a test. I mean, I would say it's a divine arrangement. So Ramanujacharya says, yes, I fully accept my Guru's statement that if I were to share this mantra, I go to hell. But my Guru also said that anybody who chants this mantra will be liberated, will get bhakti, etc. So Ramanujacharya says that I don't mind going to hell. I don't mind going to hell millions of times or live there for millions of yugas or ages, as long as everybody else gets the benefit of going back to Krishna. So it is more to show the glory of Ramanujacharya. Uh, it's more to show how kind, compassionate, how inclusive, how merciful he was. In fact, they quote this as an example to show that Ramanujacharya was also in his own way was revolutionary. he, to whatever degree he could, he also broke the stranglehold of all these mantras on the mantras by the Brahmanas, caste Brahmanas. He broke it and said, all of you chant. You're all children of God. Somehow that's the spirit of that event is lost even today. Shiva Vaishnavas are very, very caste based, Gotra based. They just didn't get it, didn't sink into their heart that this incident was Ramanujacharya making it available for all people everywhere. So somehow they didn't get it. Now, as for what happens if you willingly, deliberately uh, disobey the orders of your guru and then do something contrary to what he has instructed, that's very risky actually. I mean, unless there's something exceptional like Ramanujacharya, we can't attempt any, we can't imitate. We should be careful. We give a word to our guru that I won't share this. We can't share it unless we get guru's permission. These are serious things. Unless we have guru's permission, unless we have guru's sanction, consent, we can't just go and do whatever we like whimsically. It wouldn't be very good. Who knows? Maybe the guru is testing us. Is testing us. So being a disciple is a very responsible role. We have to be cautious. We have to be careful, respectful, and we can't yield to some whims or some impulsive idea. Suddenly it comes out of your mind, something impulsive. That may be actually very irresponsible, disrespectful to Guru. That's all I can say. If you want me to say, then we have to examine specific cases where disciple crosses the limits or boundaries that the Guru has set for. If there are any specific cases, then we can analyze that in terms of how our Guru Parampara is explaining such an event. In terms of how Guru Parampara is understanding and explaining such event. Because normally, willful disobedience of a Guru's order is considered very risky. Okay. Oh, you had a question.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. So it is mentioned that the predominating deity within the sun is Hiranmaya, Narayana. So what kind of an avatar is this? Because sometimes people say Surya Narayana, so it's a little confusing.
I think when they say Surya Narayana, they kind of refer to sun god, not so much Narayana. I think so. But this is being clarified here. It's predominant presiding deity of the sun planet. It's one form of Narayana. So that way Narayana is Sarvavyapi, is present everywhere, even in the sun planet. I don't know technically what form of Narayana, who is the presiding deity of the sun god known as. Maybe he is known as Surya. Honestly, it didn't strike me. Maybe we can check that up. When we say Surya Narayana, do we refer to sun god Vaswan? Or do we refer to Narayana, form the Narayana, who is the predominating presiding deity of the sun planet? Could be that also. I don't know. I have to check up. So I'll just be guessing. So one of you can check up. Okay. Any other question? Grantaraj Srimad Bhagavatam ki Shri Jagannath Baladev Subhadra Shri Radha Madhur Shri Gaurnita ki